Let's take a look at offense and fighting games using the big man himself, Mr. Goldlewis. So, to be clear, I'm talking about scenarios where you're landing the hit, right? Not neutral scenarios where you're trying to get in, right? So maybe you've gotten a knockdown or whatever, right? So, you're in. The most basic thing you can do in an offensive scenario is the block string. This is the foundation for everything. Just make them block some stuff. You know, maybe something like this. Oops. My finger slipped. Right, he's got a plethora of options. Block strings are actually pretty good. You don't need to be upset that, like, they're blocking everything. Not really. The reason is, first off, Goldlewis just does a massive amount of chip damage. Just insane amounts. I think some of them do more, I'm not sure exactly. But two, this also increases the opponent's risk, as you're probably aware. You're going to start doing more damage once you touch them. And it only really takes like two or like three, maybe four block strings, rather, for Goldlewis to fill that bar up. Right, 1, 2... Right, that's super basic. On top of that, you're building meter. Meter is extremely important in this game. And not only do you just build meter from doing the block strings, let's make that visible here. Right, not only are you building meter from doing this, you're also increasing your tension gain. So you're also increasing how much meter you're getting from when you do this. Furthermore, Goldlewis has the security level. It pauses during hit stop, but I don't think it pauses during the entire time, right? So you don't gain as much as you'd think, but that's still free security level. It's building while the opponent's not capable of doing anything. So he just kind of gets an extra bonus from keeping the opponent locked down. But, of course, the game's going to take a long time if this is all you're doing. So, we introduce gaps to our block strings. The idea here is, right, the opponent's going to get tired of just sitting there blocking, and they're going to start to want doing something. And typically, they're going to hit buttons. So Faust here is sick of taking this. He's going to start jabbing. This opens him up to getting absolutely slaughtered. This is where counter hits come in. That's the better one. By introducing gaps in our offense, we let the opponent not block and get counter hit instead. We give them a chance to hit something only long enough to land that counter hit. And Goldlewis, in particular, is very good at this. It's a pretty general thing in the game, but Goldlewis definitely seems to get much more mileage out of it than a lot of characters. Especially with Behemoth Typhoon. You can delay the cancels and turn pretty much any block string into a gap. So, like, normally, that's a block string, right? It's airtight. Faust can't jab that ever. But, if I can time it, it's a little awkward. There we go. Blammo. So, just pretty much any time you hit the opponent, you can leave room for them to hit a button. I cannot do it well on this one. There we go. Probably shouldn't have used that Behemoth Typhoon, but you get the picture, right? So now, we've once again established the opponent that they need to be blocking. What this enables us to do is reset our pressure. Now that they're afraid to actually do anything, we can just run right in, and you've already seen me do it. Thunderbird is a perfect tool for this. And now we can just run right in. And just keep going forever, right? And then this loops back. Once they start seeing that you're doing Thunderbird, they're going to want to hit a button after, like, this sweep here. And then you just hit them with that again, right? You get that counter hit. So then, if they keep blocking forever, we got throws, baby. I don't know what the optimal throw combos are. You'll have to look that up, but just having the throw happen, even if you don't get a lot of damage, makes them scared to just sit there again. And then they're going to want to start jabbing or jumping, and you can probably absolutely slam them. I haven't researched optimal jump catches, or even, like, decent jump catches yet, but it exists. You can find moves that'll swat them out of the air before they can actually block. Jumping as startup, I don't know if it counts as a counter hit, but you'll hit them. So point being, once they decide it's not worth hitting buttons and they should block forever, even when you're resetting pressure, you just hit him with the throw. That was a stupid combo. You get the picture, though. Alternatively, we have a different type of mix-up. The high-low. In general, they're probably going to block low. Let's see, I gotta turn this way and... Right? So hit them with that shit. And I forgot what... There we go. Something like that. You get big reward on the overhead. I do believe I forgot to mention it. During Blockstrings, you want to try to use a lot of lows. Just in case you can catch them not blocking low, right? If you're doing most of your Blockstrings with this, they're going to block it either way. But if you do your Blockstrings like this, then you might catch them. Just like accidentally blocking high for some reason. That being said, there's some downsides to these moves too, so you'll have to weigh the risk-reward, right? So once again, now they gotta watch out for this. And Goldlewis is very powerful because even if they block it high, he's like plus 12. He is at massive advantage. Even if they block it, you can challenge them with his far normals. This is probably where the 6H comes into play, maybe. Let's see. Right, I haven't tested this yet. Let's find out. The problem is... Yeah, that was just a block string. Let's try it. Oh, I see. He's not doing the jab because it's guard breaking him. That's kind of annoying. Anyway, there's definitely... You can run back in. You can challenge with a normal if you think they're going to press immediately. So the real solution to Goldlewis's overhead, both of them actually, he has two, is... Oops. To jab. They're pretty slow startup. You can probably do an even slower move than a jab. Yeah, 12 frames. So, don't jab, actually, but right, to hit some button. Right? But now, you're opening them up. If I can do it. Oops, I messed up, but you're opening them back up to the counter hit game. So all of Goldlewis has so many... His offense just flows together really nicely, I guess. And in this game, honestly, it's pretty rare to have really good hit, throw, reset, pressure kind of things, right? To phrase that better, it's pretty rare to have good counter hit focused offense and also have really threatening high lows. It's pretty rare. But Goldlewis gets to have it because he carries the risk of getting counter hit himself when he goes for his overhead. So to sum that up, Blockstrings, baby. Then you start introducing some gaps. Then, once they get counter hit and they're terrified to press a button, reset pressure. Then you can start going for the throw. And that'll start opening them to get hit up by the gaps again, because they'll try to get out. And alternatively, I didn't even need to do that. It combos on its own, but you can start hitting them with the high-low mix-ups. Right. So that's the little summary. And so these are things that you need to be thinking about very consciously when you're training. And then they become subconscious habits, right? And what you start thinking about is paying attention to what exactly the opponent is doing, right? So when you're training, you want to learn, like, okay, this block string is pretty good because it leaves some gaps. It's all lows, so that opens up the high-low game, you know, etc. During your training, you want to find these good offensive strings that you can bust out so that you don't have to really think about which moves to use during your offense. You can just start thinking like, oh, he's blocking forever, I can go for a throw. That was stupid. Right. This is what I refer to as structuring your offense. But with Goldlewis, it looks like you can kind of just get away with a lot of stuff very simply. And these are all things that work in pretty much every fighting game. Like, this is how Virtua Fighter works. This is how Street Fighter works. Just, Goldlewis has some very interesting ways to apply these things. And I think that's about it. I don't think I have any, like, final words. Oh, the one thing I showed you want to use Thunderbird when resetting offense. I don't think I explicitly said. So first, like, obviously they can jab during Thunderbird, and that opens them back up to the gap. But the other thing is, you really want Thunderbird on knockdowns, Right, you hit him with... Shit. Hit him with this. This puts them at the perfect range for you to get Thunderbird out. And now the Thunderbird will cover you as you approach again. Okay, I did the string kind of weird there, right? And now we can do our shit again. So most, like any solid combo should end with something that'll put them in Thunderbird range and allow you to get back in. And now, I mean, I'm messing up the execution because I'm day 0 Goldlewis, right? But that lets you get back in, and now we can run this whole game on them again. With a little funny shield protecting us. Right. So that's the last thing I want to say. You want to make sure that when your offense succeeds, it puts you in a position where you can start your offense again. In fact, I think with Goldlewis, like, maybe using Thunderbird isn't even necessarily required because you can just run in, but it will keep you safe. And just run up, and we can just, like, grab him. Or whatever. I think throwing the Thunderbird out is better if you can time it well. But maybe not. Maybe it is just better to run in and hit him on wake up. You know, do a meaty. So that's the last thing. Make sure your offense doesn't end your offense. Because, like, if you're doing this, you're not getting back in. It's game over, man. Oops, wrong one. Right, if you just knock them away, like, Faust gets up, like, immediately, you're going to eat a scalpel, he's going to teleport, or something, right? Ending all of your combos with something that gets you a good knockdown and leaves them near you is just the much better idea. Like that's a very bad option that I just did. I was just fooling around there. But just... Goldlewis does have good buttons. There might be some matchups where maybe you'd rather play the neutral, but in general in most fighting games you would rather be here with a funny ball on top of them than over here giving them the chance to get in on you, right? So then the fun is learning to optimize all this stuff. Right, like in the corner. I thought that wall bounced. There we go. You might want to use that move more, etc. So, developing a very simple game plan based around the basics that I just gave is very valuable. But what's also important is learning to kind of add new bits and pieces. Learn to optimize things. Learn to recognize when, in certain scenarios, you know, this combo would be better. Or this starter is better because in the corner, right? And, of course, character-specific stuff, learning like, oh, Faust really can't deal with, you know, this, or whatever, right? But you can take it one step at a time is the point I'm trying to get to, right? Like, I figured this out in, like, 0.5 seconds. And it is a pretty solid little string there. So, that's everything I want to say. I don't know how to end the video. I guess the video is just done now.